Hello children, welcome to our science session. In today's session, let's revise chapter 8, cell structure and functions. What are cells? Cells are the basic building blocks of all living organisms. It is a structural and functional unit of living organisms. So what are cells? Cells are the basic structural and functional unit of all living organisms. Who discovered cell? Scientist Robert Hooke in 1665 he discovered cell. How he discovered cell? Robert Hooke uh, by observing slices of cork under a simple magnifying device. What is cork? Cork is a part of bark of a tree. And how he discovered? Robert Hooke he observed thin slices of cork under a microscope, and he noticed small boxes or partition or compartments in the cork slice, and these boxes are appeared like a honeycomb. So, and also these boxes were separated from each other by a wall or partition. So he gave the name cell for each box. Actually, what he observed, the boxes or cells in the cork were actually dead cells. Then coming to what are organs? That is group of tissues together form organs. So we can tell group of cells group together to form tissues, tissues group together to form organs, and organs group together form organ system. And cells were first observed by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. And if you see, all cells, they exhibit various shapes and sizes, and number of cells also varies from organisms to organisms. And size of the cell, if you see, some cells are big enough to be seen with our unaided eye or naked eye. Example, hen's egg. Hen's egg is a cell. So it is big enough so that we can see with our naked eye. And some cells are very small, which we cannot see by our naked eye. And the same way, some organisms whose body is made up of single cell, and these organisms we call them as unicellular organisms, while some other organisms whose body is made up of a large number of cells, and we call those organisms as multicellular organisms. And if you compare unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms, what are unicellular organisms? Organisms whose body is made up of single cell are called as unicellular organisms. And what are multicellular organisms? Organisms whose body is made up of more than one cell. It is large number of cells are called as multicellular organisms. And in unicellular organism, the single cell, because as it's made up of single cell, the single cell, it performs all the basic functions which performed by variety of cells in multicellular organisms. That is, in unicellular and multicellular organisms, the basic functions are carried in both. In unicellular organisms, the basic functions are performed by a single cell, and in multicellular organisms, the basic functions are performed by a large number of cells. Now, cell structure and function. In this, we have we have learned that already organisms, they have many organs, and organs group together to form organ system. For example, digestive system, it is an organ system, and it is made up of various organs like mouth, esophagus, stomach, large intestine, small intestine, and these organs, all organs together, and they perform a function called digestion. So all these organs group together and form organ system called digestive system. And each organ system, they perform particular function. But a digestive system, it performs the function of digestion. Excretory system, it performs the function of excretion. Circulatory system, it performs the function of circulation. So organ system, they perform specific function. Got that? And the same way in plant also different organs perform specific or specialized function. For example, what is the function of roots in plant? It absorbs. It helps in the absorption of water and minerals from the soil. And what is the function of leaves in plant? Leaves are also responsible for synthesis of food. The same way in animals also, different organs, they perform different function, that is it perform its specific function. And cells, as we have revised, it exhibits various shapes and sizes, and number of cells also vary from organisms to organisms, and some cells are big enough to be seen with an unaided eye or naked eye, example hen's egg. And some organisms, they are single celled, while some other organisms are made up of large number of cells. So the single celled organisms are called unicellular organisms, and they perform the basic functions which are performed by variety of cells in multicellular organisms. So the size of the cell is no way related with the size of the organisms, whether it is plant or animal. The size of the cell and size of the organism is no way related. On the other hand, size of the cell is size and shape of the cell. It is related with the function what it performs. Got children? So size of the cell has no relation with size of the body. And how do you define the shape of amoeba? So amoeba body of shape of amoeba appears to be irregular. That is, we can tell it has no definite shape. It keeps on changing its shape. What is the projection or or protruding out of its body of amoeba called as pseudopodia? And sometimes these projections or protrusion appear, or sometimes it disappear. It is whenever amoeba moves, the projections appear. And if it find any food to have, it projections appear, so that with the help of pseudopodia it move and feed. So what is this? Identify the given figure, given diagram. This is amoeba. See this projection, protrusion, what we call that as pseudopodia. And where amoeba uses its pseudopodia for its movement as well as for feeding. When it find any food particle, the projections get elongated and it covers that food particle and then engulf inside. So this is the function of pseudopodia. What is the function of pseudopodia? For movement and feeding. And what advantages does amoeba derive by changing shape? So due to change in shape, the change in shape is due to formation of pseudopodia, by which the amoeba can move and capture its food. So what is the function, or question will come, what is the function of pseudopodia, or what advantage does amoeba derive by changing shape? How does amoeba change shape? The change in shape is due to the formation of pseudopodia, which helps in movement and in capturing food. Now, next is another example which can change, say, of the cell which change its shape is white blood cell. So white blood cell, or WBC in human blood, is another example of a single cell which can change its shape. But here WBC is a single cell, but amoeba is a full organism whose body is made up of single cell. So if you compare WBC and amoeba, amoeba is a single cell which can capable of independent existence. Got it? So name the single cell which can change its shape, amoeba and WBC. But amoeba is an organism which lead an independent existence. WBC is a cell, is a part of an organism. Got it? And now what shape would you expect in organism with millions of cells, multicellular organisms? There are different types of cells are there, and what type of shapes we can see? Different cells like red blood cells, muscle cell, nerve cells, etc. So the different cells vary in shapes due on the basis of its function. What is see here? Red blood cells, they are spherical in shape, and muscle cells are spindle shaped. Nerve cells are long and branched. So usually cells are round and spherical or elongated. Example, spherical shape, that is round and spherical red blood cells. Some cells are long and pointed at both the ends. They exhibit spindle shape. Example, muscle cells. Cells sometimes are long and branched. Example, nerve cell. What is the other name of nerve cell? Neuron. So what is the function of neuron? Why neuron? Give reason. Neuron, why nerve cells are long and branched? Because the shape of the cell is it depends on its function. As a nerve cell receives and transfers messages, and thereby helping to control and coordinate different parts of the body, nerve cells or neuron are very long and branched. Now, size of the cell. Size of the cell, maybe it is as small as a millionth of meter, that is micrometer, or it may be as large as few centimeter. And this most of the cells are microscopic, so it cannot be seen by our naked eye. And how can we see those cells? These cells can be microscopic cells, can be seen by with the help of microscope. The which is the smallest cell? Smallest cell is bacteria. Its size is 0.1 micron to 0.5 micron. Which is the largest cell? Largest cell is ostrich egg. Egg of an ostrich. Its size is 170 millimeter into 130 millimeter. So smallest cell is bacteria. Largest cell is ostrich egg. And now, as the cell in an elephant larger than the cells in a rat, now just now we have learned size of the cell is no way related with the size of the body of an organism. So it is not necessary that cells in elephant is much bigger than those in a rat. The size of the cell is related with its function. For example, nerve cells in both elephant and rat are long and branched because they perform the same function of transferring the messages and control and coordinate different organs. So the size of the cell is related with its function. It is not related with the size of the organisms. Now, let us see some MCQ questions. Tissue combined to form, tissues together to form organs. Cells present in a living organism differ in, yes, it differ in numbers, differ in shape, and differ in size. So the answer is all of this. A group of similar cells combined to form tissue. Cells group together to form tissues. Now, the organisms containing only a single cell is called as unicellular organisms. The basic structural and functional unit of all living organism is cell. Which of the following instrument can be used to observe cell? Barometer, microscope, periscope, telescope. So which instrument is used to observe cell? Microscope. And which of the following scientists discovered cell in cork slices? Robert Hooke. So Robert Hooke discovered cells by observing cork cells. That is nothing but bark of the tree. Among the following, which cell can be seen with unaided eye, that is naked eye? Hence, egg, red blood cells, sperm cell, nerve cell. So this red blood cell, sperm cell, nerve cells are microscopic. It cannot be seen by our naked eye. Hence, egg is big enough to be seen with our naked eye. So answer is hence egg.